Hey, it's Sparky Fifer, 1250 AM The Fan in beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Well, maybe not so much today. A little overcast, a little rainy. Yeah, it'll be fine, though. Time to talk some PBA League bowling, amongst other stuff, with our guy, Dwigh Albrecht. Busy over there at the Spare Time Pro Shop in New Berlin. He is Phil Brylow, $2 Phil, traveling around the country. Just got back from doing something for Parker Bone, right, Phil?
Yeah, he had his big scholarship tournament in New Jersey over Labor Day weekend. Over a couple of hundred kids coming out, 5 different age groups. And the neat part about Parker's event is he has a training facility built into the first 5 lanes of the bowling center called Rev Rates. So the other 26 lanes inside of Howell Lanes we use for qualifying and match play, and then we bring the kids over into Rev Rates for a TV style finals. So
Nice.
It's really cool. So yeah, I mean it's well lit. I had all my live stream stuff. We had remote control cameras showing. If you go on YouTube and look for the Parker Bone Scholarship Tournament, if anybody wants to look for that, and look for those age division finals, and boy, do those kids throw the ball good. The 2 young men that were in the U18 finals, they were throwing wood like the pins were made of balsa wood. It was phenomenal to see this next generation come up. And even the young kids that were in the 12 and under mixed division finals, this young man he's a lefty. He was hooking the whole lane, 2-handed. And he had another kid on the right side, one-handed, trying to hook not the whole lane, throw it a little bit straighter. But you watch just the enthusiasm these young men had, 10 and 11 years old, and they're bowling like it's like they're bowling for a PBA title. It was so cool.
Did you get a chance to talk to either one of them at some point to see, are they bowling in college? Do they want to be on the PBA, or is this fun and we're done now?
Oh no, they love bowling. They get out as often as they can. One of the young men comes all the time to Rev Rates, the training facility. He gets lessons about once a month from either Parker or one of the other coaches there and the training staff. And his goal someday is to be a pro bowler. He really wants to be a pro bowler.
I mean, I know, Dwight, I love you to death, but Parker Bone is the guy giving you lessons, man. That is crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just the eye, I mean, what they see, and they see it a lot because they're on the tour.
Right.
And the tour, you're going to get the best in the world coming out.
And you see everything
on the tour. Yeah. Again, the tour players' minds think differently. That's what I learned with Norm Duke. The stuff that came out of his mouth when he did his shows when he came to town promoting the PBA.
Right.
I mean, he uses a different language than what you typically hear locally.
Sure.
And just their intelligence is just such a higher level out there. So I would assume being coached under Parker, you're getting the top.
The rev rate lanes that you're referring to, do those exist in this area of Wisconsin?
No, it rivals the training facilities they have down at Kegel.
What makes them so special?
They have Specto. They have other training tools like the torch. You put the torch down lane, and it gives you something to target at. And if you hit it, it lights up. They can put out any oil pattern you want. If you see an oil pattern for a tournament that's going to be coming up, they can put it out on their lanes there. The pin setters they have there, if you want to work just on specific spare combinations, you want to work on making the 3, 6, 9, 10. We all know how tough that is. You can work on making the 3, 6, 9, 10 every single shot. So it's just a phenomenal training center. The two that rival it are the ITRC down at the bowling headquarters in Arlington, Texas, and the Kegel place in Lake Worth, Florida. It's just a great place to train. They have great coaches, and if you want to bring your own coach in, you're not limited to Parker Bone or anything like that. I saw Anthony Pepe, who won on the PBA Tour. He won the first title ever in the South Point Bowling Plaza. Yep. And he was practicing there a couple of times while I was out there. He drives 90 minutes each way to practice there. And he's now coaching an NCAA women's team at Wagner College in New York.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to bring his team down there in a couple of weeks to get their first big practice session in when they can start the NCAA season. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Everything that's available to you inside this place.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
What does Parker get in terms of like a lesson or financials for like Pepe bringing in his team? Is it per hour?
It's per hour. So I know a lesson with Parker Bone is $125 for the hour, and then
how much
$30.
Are you charging, Dwight?
40.
Yeah, Dwight, you got to get that.
I don't have Parker's name though.
I don't care. You're a Hall of Famer in the state.
Yes, I get it.
Hey, you should be at least $75 an hour.
Yeah. Brandon
at
Bowen
least $75.
Yeah, Brandon Parker's son Brandon gets that an hour for lessons, and I mean
His son,
he's learned from the his son his son coached a couple of the U18 boys finalists. He's worked with both of them.
Really?
And and they come in, and if they want to dedicate it, and they can split it up too. If two guys want to come in for an hour and split the time for a lesson, then it's $37.50 kind of thing. And then the use of the lane. And like I said, it's a great part. If you have a pattern you want, they will put it out there for you. You just give them the little chart from Kegel, and out on the lane it goes for you. And if you want to work on certain things, they will work on that with you. If you want to work on spare making, if you want to work on footwork, all kinds of things they can do out there. It's a pretty phenomenal training center. And if somebody, you don't necessarily need the name, but you need some funds to put up something like that. And I can see the Albrecht Training Center. I can see the Spare Time Training Center. Take those last 4 lanes by his pro shop in New Barrel Bowl, wall them off, and there you go.
This is going to sound crazy because I always compare bowling to other sports all the time. And Dwigh will make references to IndyCar because he's a big IndyCar guy all the time too. Yep. But it kind of feels like, to a certain degree, indoor baseball facilities and football facilities in the Midwest, because for so long in other parts of the country, Florida, Texas, California, you play football year round, no big deal, right? Baseball year round, no big deal. Here in the Midwest, we got snow and everything else. You really get to play for 4 months, 5 months, maybe. And then it's crap again. So now these indoor baseball facilities and football facilities are popping all over the place in the Midwest. Every city seemingly has one, or every other city has one. And it's trying to level the playing field. And you're seeing Wisconsin kids get drafted by MLB teams and getting to the big leagues because they're being able to have year-round training, where in the past you were never able to have that. So these Midwest kids were at a huge disadvantage. I just stop and think about this. Like, if you think about how much of an advantage it is for a kid to be able to go there and practice there.
Yes.
Or one of the other 2 facilities that Phil is talking about. It is a gigantic difference than any other person around the country in any other state. You don't have this in California. You don't have it in Arizona, right? Texas, right? But you don't have that opportunity. Right. And now I just wonder to myself, thinking outside the box here, is that now going to become a thing where eventually these bowling profiteers who are trying to figure out, okay, how do I take the next step? How do I get this to the next level where I can get more money than what I'm charging and be able to bring in serious type bowlers from all over the place? If you had one of these things in, say, I don't know, Kenosha, right? We'll put it on the border. I bet you would be able to draw people from Milwaukee or however far away, right, to come down to bowl with it. If you got Anthony Pepe driving 90 minutes, you'd be able to have that, especially if it was on the interstate. And then you'd be able to draw people from Northern Illinois and Chicago, because there's nowhere down there to do it. They would drive up to use it as well. So now you're talking about not only kids, but also these guys that are bowling in regionals and stuff like that. And there's plenty of those guys, not just Lenny Borsch. There's more than just Lenny Borsch out there bowling in some of these regionals. Phil could tell you all these guys. Chicago, I'm sure they would pay the money to go get that extra time.
Chicago is what comes to my mind. Sean Rash is from Chicago, puts on seminars. They have a lot of big, beautiful centers.
Rash doesn't own his own center, though, does he?
No, he does not. So. No, he bowls at a couple of centers in Aurora, in the Aurora area in Illinois.
Right, but he doesn't own his own. Right.
Does not own Chris his own. Prather from Chicago.
Yep.
So, I mean, Chicago is what comes to my mind right away for, I guess, I mean, you'd see Wisconsin people.
But Dwight, it doesn't have to me, tell me if you disagree. It doesn't have to be a PBA pro that opens this up. It could just be whoever. But if you have the technology,
from the PBA guy, though.
No, for sure. Yeah. But if you have the lanes and the ability to go there and bowl and do what Phil says on these specific set of lanes and rent it out for $100 an hour or whatever it may be, people are going to pay that money to go have that experience.
It sure sounds to me like it's just another Kegel. Every time I see Del Warren, who runs Kegel down in Florida, I post something every day. It's this group is coming in to Kegel. All the men and women on the tour train down at Kegel. It's a very similar situation as what Phil's talking about with Parker's place.
Yeah, and now the neat part about that is how many guys are going to come in on a Saturday night and want a lesson? Or that type of, nobody's going to do that. So you turn around and they market this as a VIP area then as well, where hey, you want to bring your Saturday night party in here? We've got a party room. You can bring in your caterer. You can bring in your food. We've got obviously the bar at the bowling center for something that's a little more relaxed and that kind of thing. You come in, you get your drinks from the bar, you get your food here. You got a party room you go back into. If one of your somebody on their phone has a Spotify playlist, they want to play as the music on the lanes. Hey, we can plug you right in. There you go. Your Spotify starts going on the lanes. The Crunch Bowling, that gives the straight tracks a white line on the lane on the PBA Tour. They have a version of that where it has games and graphics on the lanes and everything else, where you can do that for a really fun VIP time. So not only do you get the benefits of the training center, but now when the training center's not working, not, slow times, Saturday nights, Friday nights, you rent it out at a premium, and then that's where you make a little more of that.
Oh yeah, sure.
Why doesn't Bowling Heaven have this?
Bowling Heaven doesn't need.
He spent all that money for the expansion for the TV side and all the stands and everything else.
Right.
That would just be an added bonus. Now, maybe there's not the high-end bowlers out in Portland, Maine that would use it consistently.
Location.
But if you just take what Phil said and say, you can use it for partying, the man's got a full kitchen and everything else that he does, so you don't got to worry about a caterer or anything like that. I mean, that would really take and elevate it up even more if he took 4 or 6 lanes and be able to rent that out on the weekends for these college age kids or whoever to go in there and have these parties. I think they would pay it.
Well, that's a nice part of having the 2 sections at Bayside, because they do that with, this side's closed. We don't have bowling on the new side today because it's for a private party, but come in and we still have lanes on the old side, or the whole house is taken up today with a private party. They do 20 some weddings there a year.
Yeah, that's what he said.
They get the rooftop and everything. Yeah. So that sometimes some of the lanes are down there for something for the guests to do while they're out getting pictures taken, that type of thing. Hey, guests, go to Bay, since the reception's at Bayside anyway, strap some bowling shoes on, have a little fun, be social, have a good time with it. So they've really marketed that part there at Bayside. If it's something, Charlie could throw in Specto and pick up a couple other things. Sure, he doesn't have the big name coaches. He's got Arturo Quintero there now. I get a lesson from Arturo. He's bowled all around the world. He knows what's going on.
I don't think we have. You're both doing it. I don't think you have to focus into the lesson part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, if I want to practice certain shots, I don't need a coach. I'll figure it out. Just I want to be able to put it in the rack and do it over and over again. If I want to practice on a certain oil pattern that my house can't do, I can go there and I can practice. I don't need a coach. I just want to practice on the conditions I'm bowling in. I'll figure out the rest. You don't have the coach brings in additional money, sure, but you also then have to pay the coach a cut of whatever the coach is charging. You get a cut, they get a cut, right? That's all kind of part of it. That's how you come to your price. For me, it's the party aspect that Phil was talking about that you're not going to get anywhere else in the country. Those games and everything else that are available, you don't get that anywhere else. And then 2 is, again, if you want to go practice for state tournament or city tournament or whatever the case may be that you're going to practice for, now you've got somewhere that'll go do it, and it's problem solved. To me, it's a no-brainer, and I don't know how much it costs. I'm sure it costs a pretty penny, and it's not cheap. But that, to me, seems like the next thing of, if you're going to elevate your bowling center around the country to make it stand out and different and draw money that nobody else is going to be able to draw but you, that's the next step.
One proprietor in town did recently install a torch.
One second. Stop. 1 second. I just thought of something.
Yes.
The dude that we had on,
Dan Ganant.
Dan.
I saw him yesterday. Actually.
He bought that old bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Polish Falcon.
And he's got like 4 to 6 lanes or whatever the case may be. That's who should do it. He should turn those like 6 lanes and have them all have that technology on it, all fresh lanes, all that technology. And now it's completely different, because now if you go to that bar and go downstairs, you can't go to any other bowling center in anywhere that has all those games and parties and whatever else you can have on it. During the day, you can have guys coming in there and practicing for regionals or whatever else. And now it's being used all the time. And it's all the lanes that you have. So you're not taking out 4 of 20 or whatever the case may be. Now he becomes the center point where everybody's going to drive from Madison to come down and check it out. And he's doing great things. I mean, the outdoor bar area that he's going to have, the beer garden area, and then he's redoing the inside of the bar area. That's how you separate yourself when you have that smaller type of thing. Or you take the Holler House and you do it there on their 2 lanes, and you modernize it. Now, again, it's going to take away from the old thing or whatever. But now you give that some meaning and puts 2 high-end things in there. Now, again, you get to go bowl at a historical place, and you get to do stuff there that you can't do anywhere else. That's how, if you have bowling lanes and a bar, how do I make it work? I think this is how you make it work if you can afford it.
Well, there's one proprietor in town, Stefan Honen, just put in a torch out at Sussex. I think he might have done it also at what's the place in Waukesha? I keep forgetting. Foxview. Yeah. So I believe he has it now at both. Here's the thing. My point is, I think Milwaukee will eventually pick up on this idea.
Well, the whole country hasn't picked up on this idea. It's not just us, it's everybody.
Right.
I just think we're always a little bit behind other cities when it comes to
all aspects of life.
Yeah.
In all aspects of life.
Right.
Yeah. We're always behind. Yes.
Right. So give it a little time. And I think you'll see, like Dan, you'll see proprietors that get it, will utilize it and maybe go forward with it.
I think I didn't plan on talking about this today, but I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it will separate yourself from everybody else in the area. You will completely stand out on your own, regardless of what everything else is. You may not have the best food program. You may not have the best bar, but if you have those lanes and they're in tip-top shape and everything else, people are going to come because you're the only ones in town that are going to offer it.
Well, again, the thing I took away from Howler House that day, Phil, when we were there in Easter for the Team USA versus the World, was someone had to show me when the Eagles come into town, all the pictures, they come to Howler House. Number one, how do you get the Eagles to like 16th and Lincoln at the Howler House, to have a private party there? How does that even happen? Is it their manager? I mean, and they got pictures all over the place with the Eagles partying there. So you talk about that party aspect. Oh, let's go bowling and have a private party at the Howler House. And we're the Eagles. I mean, how does that even happen?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, where, you can have those 2 or 4 lanes where you make sure you keep it small and private. There's a couple places in the Milwaukee area, like JB's on 41, where they have that VIPs, but they're larger sections, so they're not going to wall out. You don't have 2 lanes for a big party unless you want to pay to rent all 10 lanes out or whatever it is over there. Same thing at Katormson's and Kenosha. It's a big 10 or 12 lane party section. You need to make these things a little bit smaller and turn them over a little bit more. And you should have no problem filling them up on Fridays and Saturdays with VIPs. I mean, people want to be out, but they don't want to be, let's say, in the masses, especially nowadays with, if let's say there's, the COVID numbers are coming back up. Well, they want to go out. They want to be kind of on their own. They don't want to be around 10 lanes of people. They want to be around 4 lanes of people. Right. It's all people that they know. There you go. There's your comfort factor. Yeah. It's going to cost a little bit more to be a little bit smaller, possibly in the long run, because obviously if you have 10 VIP lanes, you're going to be able to churn more money over with it. But it's something that could be very financially viable if somebody in our area wanted to do it.
It's funny you talk about the Eagles and going there. Posted on Facebook. I don't know if it was yesterday or the other day. I think it was Labor Day, actually. I think it might have been. Brett Michaels.
Yeah, Brett Michaels. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know who Brett Michaels is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know where
80s long hair rock star?
Yeah. Do you know where his mom lives?
No, I did not.
Crivets,
Wisconsin.
So he was just in Crivets visiting his mom. Surprise attack, he said, hanging out at Crivets. And on the Facebook post said that he's going to throw a concert in Crivets.
Yeah.
Next year or the next couple of years, he wants to throw I think it might have been his first time there. I don't know if she just moved there or whatever else, but praising Crivets, Wisconsin. Well, you'd be amazed by all the famous people that actually have family or relatives or a reason to come here and then hang out here and nobody even knows it.
Well, many years ago, I don't know if Phil knows him, Gary Arnson, who owns On Track in Minnesota, posted on Facebook, met Gary in the late 90s down at Hopkinsville, Kentucky for our advisory staff meetings for Ebonite. Got a chance to have a private party at his bowling alley and got to fit Prince, the singer, for a bowling ball. Yeah, and his girlfriend or wife at the time for a bowling ball. And he put it was just a conventional grip, hard plastic ball, but put the specs out on Facebook. And so the funny thing was, it wasn't Prince's name on the sheet. It was just at that time he was going by the symbol.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, how would you like to have Prince right in front of you?
That's
fit in
wild.
You? Right.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And again, he had a private party at that bowling alley. Right.
Yeah, that's how it goes. No question about it. So, all right, that was fun. That was definitely not planned, but that's kind of how it always goes on this show. Nothing is ever planned, and stuff that is planned, we don't ever do.
20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, literally 20 minutes. Something that wasn't even on any one of our little layouts for our Odyssey Sports YouTube page video that we're doing right now, live streaming it. Also, don't forget you can download us on the Odyssey app or wherever you download your favorite podcast at. We do this once a week. We got the PBA League coming up at the end of the month. Looking forward to that. We had Kyle Troop on last week. If you missed that, go back again, listen to that on your Odyssey app, wherever you download your favorite podcast. Or if you don't believe that was actually Kyle Troop, you can go watch the video yourself on YouTube on the Odyssey Sports page, Spare Time Bowling Show. All right, there are 5 dudes that are going to be rookies in the PBA League this year. The question is, which PBA rookie, league rookie, I should say, will perform the best? Kevin McEwen, Sean Lavery Spar, Graham, how do you say his last name?
Fa.
Frank Snodgrass, and Thomas Keiko. Whatever. I'm horrible at names, folks. I'm telling you right now. If you listen to me on the Big Show for all those years, you know I try to avoid pronouncing hard last names consistently because I suck at it. Okay, so of those 5, who do you like best going into the PBA League play? Of course, presented by Pabst Blue Ribbon. We'll give the sponsor a mention because we like to support the PBA Tour. Dwight, who you got?
One word. Nuke.
Yeah.
Kevin McEwen, I think, will have a great PBA League.
Why?
Stands out. I mean, he just completely stands out. He's got a hot hand right now. Like Phil says, he can do everything to the ball and not just throw it hard. He can hook it. He thrives in that situation. He's young, so I think he's really going to get pumped up by the crowds.
Oh, yes. The crowds are going to eat him up.
Snodgrass made a couple shows. I like his game also. But I just think, again, the sport is about speed and power, and he can bring it. So I think the Nukes chants are going to go crazy at Bowling Heaven.
Yeah, that dude, I don't think he knows what he's in store for when he gets out there. I really don't think he knows what he's in store for.
A lot of nukes.
Phil, is there a type of bowler that plays best at Bowling Heaven for PBA League play that you would say, if I had to build a prototype of a bowler, this is what he has to have or she has to have in order to be successful out there?
If you ask a lot of the managers, it's a left hand. There's really not much of a prototype, and especially now because they're going to go back into the center here at Bowling Heaven, and they leveled all the lanes back in May. So a lot of the little quirkiness, especially on the TV pair where they use lanes 2 and 3 on the TV pair, a lot of the quirkiness and the difference between those pairs are gone. So it's kind of more now with who's going to be the good team mesh, who's going to be okay with, hey, guess what? You don't have the super hot hand. You're going to be in the 3rd and 8th frames, that type of thing. Who's got the good mindset to get in there and really blend as a team. As much as I want to be a homer with the PBR Milwaukee Pounders and say Sean Lavery Spar is going to be that guy, I actually think it's going to be Graham Fa with the Lumberjacks. I think when you're bowling with a team that's 3-time defending Elias Cup champions, looking to get the 4-peat, they've got the history there. You've got, just that core with Troop Prather and Wes Malat. Wes is going to have a little bit of a different outlook. He got married this past weekend. So I think something, with that, I think Graham Fa is going to be the hot hand. I think being a lefty helps a little bit, and he's gonna mesh right in with that team pretty well.
For the sake of the PBA, we want it to be Kevin McEwen, with all due respect. Remember, good old buddy Tom Clark was the one that brought up the whole star word. A star is
Next
born.
star,
Right. So that is what you need, because I really think he can maybe be that guy that can really stand out. Phil, you talked about when he was in Milwaukee the last time, he had people coming up and stopping him and talking to him and stuff. So, and he wasn't on TV like 6 times or something like that, but he was on TV enough to where it blew up and people know who he is. And because he's a physically imposing dude, right? He's not my size, 5'6", 150 pounds, just walking around and just kind of blending in. He's going to stand out regardless of where he is. And because of how he throws the ball and how hard he throws the ball, stands out even more. And the Nuke nickname is perfect. Love that.
Yep.
You want him to be really good and kind of continue to blow that star up to where when you start the next PBA League year, he's one of the guys you kind of market around.
Well, I was covering the regional at Sussex Bowl a couple of weekends ago that they had. There was a PBA 50 regional, and Eugene McEwen was there. And Kevin actually came up to watch his dad for a little bit, but he's like, yeah, I've seen him enough. I just want to go to the American Family Field and watch a Brewers game and, click another ballpark off my list. And he walked in the door and people knew who he was. Like the fans that were there watching, like they all of a sudden they're like, wow, Kevin's here. And they're coming up and Kevin's giving autographs and talking to people a little bit. He's very personable off the lanes, which is really going to help build him up too. Eugene's kind of personal off the lanes. He has his moments where, you're just going to keep your distance, that kind of thing. But even when I saw Kevin Bull bat at a couple of regionals this summer, he was still very friendly with the fans and signing autographs and taking care of business. And that's how you get your star power to grow is take the time and build yourself up. And he's really starting to realize that. And he did that before he left for the ball game. He stuck around a little bit longer and talked to people. And then, hey guys, I got to go. I got tickets to American Family Field. I'll see you. And everybody said, hey, have a good time. So it's pretty neat to see how he's now that the spotlight's on him a little bit more, how he's accepting of it and starting to already give back to the fans. And the next step is social media, right? Growing that social media presence and building that like they did with the house. Troop did with his. I mean, that's kind of where you have to go next. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, I got to do stuff on Facebook. Facebook is for old people. We've all figured that out. So like TikTok, that's kind of it's going to be the way to get the younger people. Instagram to a degree is still a thing. That's what he needs to kind of figure out, or him and whoever is helping him have to figure out. If you're at American Family Field, put on Instagram, do a TikTok video there, do a TikTok video with a couple people when you're in Milwaukee, you want to watch your dad bowl or whatever, that type of stuff to make it pop and get some run for yourself and grow that fan base.
Have them throw out the first ball.
Right. Like to me, the first thing I come up with is nuke hot sauce, right? Does the PBA have an official hot sauce? I can't imagine they have the official hot sauce.
That would be takeoff.
Right. Sure. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me, right? Something like that. But again, you have to find somebody to get in bed with you to be willing to do that and so forth. But like Leroy Butler here locally, he's got his Leap 36 brats or whatever else.
Right.
I mean, that was a local guy, a local butcher that him and
Doesn't
Leroy got
wine too.
No, he's got vodka. Okay. Charles Woodson has the Intercept wine.
Okay.
Leroy's got his Leap vodka that you can buy. Yeah,
that's right.
And that's the thing. Like he got together with a local dude and Vinny, I think his name was, and they started getting to work on what it was going to taste like and so forth. And then it blew up. And now you can buy the Pick and Save or wherever else. That's Kroger in Wisconsin. For those of you like, what the hell is Pick and Save? But that's kind of how that all started. And that's, something to explore at some point, kind of going forward. Maybe you have, I don't know, 5 little sample sauces in a pack at Christmas time. It's the PBA League hot sauces,
right.
And then you've got, Bemo's got his own, everybody's got their own kind of hot sauce, their own kind of flavoring to it or something that you can sell. What other thing? I don't mean to be negative, but I live my whole life negatively. So I might as well just stay with it here. Dude, that PBA website, man, we got to figure that out. That website used to be really good. Mm-hmm. And now, again, no one uses a great job writing articles or whatever else, but like everything else on the website is not as nearly up to date as it should be. It's just not. They kind of let it get away from them a little bit. And maybe it's because they don't feel like people go to the website enough. Maybe they don't have a ton of clicks on the website. So maybe they don't put as much effort in. But Hughes is busting his butt writing all these great articles and getting quotes and doing all this other stuff. Like that there has to be more there.
Right.
Like if I'm going there, what can I get there that I'm not going to get necessarily somewhere else? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, I can get advanced metrics here that I can't get anywhere else on this player's stats or something that goes along with
How
that.
about behind the scenes stories? How about
for instance,
interviews?
This Storm Lucky Larson or whatever the hell it's called tournament that they've got going on. Right.
Yep.
So I go to the website.
Right.
Okay. There's a story on the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I get the results? I Googled to try and find the website, and then I was able to go figure out kind of what the results were for the tournament. But to me, okay, maybe it's not PBA sanctioned, but your guy is the title on the damn thing.
Right.
I mean, that's his tournament. Support your people doing their own independent tournaments and make it easier for people to follow along. My God, Kyle Troop is over there. Prather's over there. There's a bunch of PBA bowlers. Some of your best bowlers are bowling in this thing. push it for them.
Yes.
Push results for them.
Yep.
They tweeted out AJ Johnson on his birthday or whatever, had a really good day. Okay, well, that's good. But again, there's nowhere for me to click to see like where everybody is to see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I know I'm asking for the moon here, but that type of stuff helps. And I'll tell you something else. Those bowlers would be so appreciative because it's not a PBA sanctioned league, but you're helping to promote something for me. If Sean Rash is doing something down in Aurora, help promote it for him. Put it on the PBA Twitter, tweet it out. Hey, your chance to bowl a local regional with Sean Rash. Sean Rash is doing bowling camp or something down in Illinois. If you're in the area, make sure to sign up. Here's the link. Go support your dudes and your women that are women bowlers too. Support everybody. Help push them to make more money. The happier they are, the better off everybody is. The more people that interact with your bowlers, the more chance you have of them consistently watching your product, kind of going forward. And that social media account that you have, and again, I'm not on Instagram, not on TikTok, so I don't know what they do there. All I know is Twitter. That's what I live on. So, but the more you promote that stuff for them, that it benefits everybody at the end of the day. You may think, well, it's not PBA sanctioned, I'm not going to promote it. That's a horrible way to look at it. You're not the National Football League.
Yeah.
That's not where you are. You are way bigger than, you were 10 years ago. No doubt. Like this is really exploded and expanded, but you still got to push if these guys are doing stuff out in the community.
Yeah. You want an impressive website? Go to the US Open tennis website. You have the real live results and all the pairings. And I mean, I've been watching it. I'm not a huge tennis fan, but it's in, the States and they're bringing in big names. And so I can't watch every match. So I went to the website and was blown away by how good it was.
Yep. PGA Tour's website too. They have live scoring and they keep that up to date as well. And again, how many people are going to click there and check on that and everything else? Don't know. Have no idea. Yeah. But you know what? If people are checked, because listen, with all due respect, most people are not going to sit there and watch qualifying while they're at work. It's probably not going to happen, right? But somebody may go check out the PBA website. Oh, I wonder where Belmo is. Go check out the website. Oh, now all of a sudden, let's say I'm averaging 10,000 clicks on my scoreboard a month during the PBA league season. Now maybe I can sponsor the scoreboard. Now I have a read in the PBA broadcast that says, hey, go check out the, we'll use a current sponsor. Go check out the Snickers scoreboard. And find out during qualifying, where your favorite bowlers are Thursday and Friday or whatever the case may be leading up to it. Now that's maybe another sponsorship opportunity. I run my mouth a lot and Tom Clark laughs and says, you think it's so easy. But I mean, that's the type of stuff I think they got to think about here, Phil.
It's funny. We're talking to a couple of young players circling back to the Parker Bone Scholarship Tournament. They're going to Savannah College of Art and Design for their college education, and there's a social media marketing major that they're taking for the degrees because they want to work on market. And one of the kids said, I want to make sure people see bowling, younger people my age see bowling in a different light. And that's going to be the key, is going to be these
next commissioner of the PBA Tour. Get his autograph now.
Right. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to listen to the kids that are coming up about what they're doing to how the house made it happen. Okay, what can we do to improve on what the house did to get all those people to follow them? Or Darren Tang, who has 160,000 people following. What can we do to get the next step in the next bowler? What can we do to get a Kevin McEwen up to 250,000 followers on social media? I don't know how to do it. I got ideas. These kids that are coming up and learning and getting how all these algorithms work to get people directed in certain ways and that type of thing. These are the kids we're going to have to get steering the direction of the sport to market.
These are the kids that should be hired by the PBA Tour to be brought on board. You should have somebody, at least one, if not two people, that specialize just in social media and know it forward and backwards and have taken classes and know all of this stuff that can help push it.
Yes. One of the biggest complaints I read on social media is, well, the TV shows are always on at a different time. And the thing that frustrates me the most at least in bowling right now, is when someone comes in and says, well, didn't you know this was on? No, there was no promotion. That's the frustration. Oh, never knew it was going. That's my answer back. Too bad. I would have loved to tuned in, so They need better promotion on everything that's going on in the sport.
The other thing too is you can't control it being every tournament being at the same time necessarily.
Right.
You could when you were on ESPN, because they were going against the NFL, you could lock in noon every Sunday and be fine, noon Central Time. Yep. Now with Fox, you got to play by the big boy schedule. So there's things that are going to come in front of you, and you're second, third in line, whatever it may be, for times, right? So you kind of got to play that game. I promise you, Tom Clark would love a set schedule where we're on every Saturday at whatever time. I'm sure he would love that. Yep. But Fox is looking at going, where can we put you in a position to succeed the best?
Yes.
We have college football. You're not going in place of college football. We have the NFL. No, you're not kicking off our NFL coverage. You're not getting rid of our NFL coverage. So where do we find you to put you? Now, a lot of times by the time these guys get on, college is done. And the NFL is about done by the time you get to February in that time frame. And I think that's something else that, as you look at here, bowling is a winter sport.
Right. Indoor winter sport.
Yeah. Right. And I understand that. But can I just raise my hand and say something? There ain't nothing on in the summer if you're not a baseball fan. Ain't not a damn thing on in the summer.
Right.
And I know you're inside bowling and you're like, oh, bowling leagues are going on in the fall and the spring. I agree 100%. But these bowling lanes aren't turning you on anyhow most of the time, regardless. Even if you are on during their leagues, they're not turning on the damn PBA tour at this point.
It's getting better.
Right? It's just not. Right. And how many times I see it all the time on social media. What am I going to watch tonight? There ain't nothing on. If the Brewers are off, there's nothing on at that point. You're not fighting as many other things going on. Even when you get to the winter, you're battling the NBA and the NHL at that point. You're battling two pro sports fan bases and trying to lure some of those people over to kind of watch what you're doing.
Yep.
And I don't know what Tom Clark would say to the summer idea. I don't know what Fox would say to the summer idea. Because think about it. In the summer, everybody's running reruns. Nobody's running real programming. You wait till the fall to run real programming. So now you're at night, but you're running against real programming on other stations. Yeah. If you're in the summer, you're not doing that.
Right.
You are the original programming outside of Major League Baseball at that point. And take it a step further. If you're in the summertime, maybe you can have an outdoor bowling event at some point. Maybe that charity event that you do with Chris Paul or whoever you're going to do it with, maybe that's an outside event instead of an inside event, right? Maybe you do it somewhere else than where you've done it in the past instead of a bowling center. Again, I just come up with the ideas for Tom to laugh at me. But, I mean, and I know he laughs at me, and I know he doesn't,
they tried outside at
the
Six
idea
Flags.
guy. Right. Yeah.
Many years ago.
Sure. Right. And they've done it at American Family Field, obviously, to a degree.
Yep, for the Masters.
You've had it there as well. Yep. But it's got to be a smaller venue. It's got to be like locally here, like Milwaukee Milkman Stadium.
Right.
That holds 5,000 to 8,000 people, or the Chinooks, or something like that. A smaller baseball venue that has a lot less people, right?
And now again, fill the stands,
right? And you have to have a secondary option. So the secondary option has to be: this is where we're doing it. However, if it rains, we're going inside to over here and figure it out. Well, however that's going to work, I think that has to be. That would be something else that would be different. You have the giant scoreboard out there, the outside venue. I think people would drive up here to be a part of it because it's something unique and different if you decide to go that way, Phil.
I still remember the disaster of the U.S. Women's Open in about 2011 or 2012 out in Reno, where they got all the desert dust and sand on the lanes, and the women are throwing plastic balls. That's,
you don't do it in a desert,
right. That's the one thing you got to kind of fear on something like that. But as you said, okay, if it rains, we're at this other place. It's always good to mix it up. It's always good to give an option of, hey, we're being unique. It's not the same old. And
Phil,
whether you do it at
Phil, you could have, again, sorry to interrupt. My brain's just churning right now like crazy. If you took and put that thing on Milkman Stadium on, say, Sunday, on Saturday night, you could have a PBA League softball game type deal and take the dudes that are on the PBA League teams and break them up into softball teams or whatever the case may be. Add a couple of local players that could win through drawing to play with their fights. So Milwaukee would have their own team with it, whatever. See how good all these dudes are at softball, representing them. Have the softball jersey that you could sign and give away or auction off or whatever the case may be the next day at the bowling event, have it be a 2 or 3 day event, get that coverage. I'm not aware of a PBA softball game ever happening.
Coldwater, Ohio. Our friends in Coldwater.
Happened.
Yeah, they've done it in the past. They actually just posted some pictures right before their event. They haven't done it in the last few years, but they did do it in the past where they had the players on one team and some of the locals on another, and it was a fundraiser for the youth bowling.
Yep.
For them, it's funny because they're all standing in front of the farm tractors that the farm tractor equipment company that sponsored the tournament at the time, Kenfeld Equipment. They're all standing in front of the tractor in their softball jerseys and that.
Right. Here, take that a step further. You gave me another idea. What if you took bowling and put it at Field of Dreams?
Right. That's
what if you did that?
Yeah.
They're adding like 10 baseball diamonds out there. They're building dorms for the kids to stay in and the whole deal.
Be a great
so
venue.
They're really expanding that out there. So now I got bowling lanes and corn behind me. Come on, man. I mean, say what you want, but Fox would eat that up. If you told Fox you wanted to do that,
for it too.
Fox would be like, hell yes, we're in. Let's do bowling at Field of Dreams.
Right.
That would be
it would
amazing.
Take off.
Yes. And then you could have the softball tournament the night before on FS1.
I just keep remembering the 2 years that they were at then Miller Park. There were a lot of people in the stands. A lot of people turned out for it.
I was there.
Yep. Both times I was there. I actually got to stand next to Dave DeEntremont when I went to get some concessions, and then we talked for quite a while, and he wasn't even in a seat. He was just, leaning against the brick over there at Miller Park watching the action. But there were a lot of in the stands that turned out for that.
Yep. Yeah. And when they had it at Panther, they had it at Panther Arena. They drew well at Panther Arena as well. In this area, it's always going to draw well. But I'm telling you, if you put it in Field of Dreams,
that's a great venue.
You'll have people from all over the country coming to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
And every bowler will want to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Everybody will want to be a part of that deal.
Field of Dreams.
Right.
Field of Dreams.
It was a movie.
Correct. Yes, I don't know.
No brainer there.
I think it would be huge. We have all these other topics that
I was going to say, when's part 2 of the podcast, Sparky?
Right. PBA 50 Rookie of the Year, PBA 50 Player of the Year. We didn't get to any of that. The Lucky Larson, we kind of touched on that. We never got to that. So I'm sorry, we're not going to get to any of it. You're going to have to listen till next week, and then we'll get to it next week. And you can always go on PBA Tour's Twitter account or website to find out details of all three of those things. But that'll do it for today's podcast. We came in not having a ton, and we ended up having a ton. Phil Brylow, Dwigh Albrecht, Sparky, Fifer. As always, a fun one. Have a good rest of your day. Toodles!